Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your energy forecast for the month of May of 2025 for the elemental energy of Earth. Earth covers the zodiac signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So if you are Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or have Earth high up in your charts, then this message is for you. And if you've never had your charts read, or you're curious about maybe where you stand as far as the elements, there is a link in the description to a natal chart. It gives you your 12 houses with all the signs and symbols, and then a 10 to 20 page description of what all that means. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that, just a really cool product. And in the middle of all of that, it also tells you what your energy alignment is. Most people carry 2 really high and strong, and the other 2 are very low, and it kind of gives you an idea of what all that means. So it's kind of fun to check out. With that being said, we'll get started into our I-ching, and I cast the hexagram before recording the video. And Earth, you have the hexagram of number 23, and it is peeling off. Peeling off. At present, there is no goal or destination which can be sought with advantage. So this is really saying, Earth, this is a good time to do some reflection, maybe check in where you're at. What are those big goals you started back in January or in December, depending on when you celebrate New Year's, and how are you doing on those? This is a kind of a quiet time, a push pause on the rush is what I'm hearing here. So let's take a peek at the first line, our foundation line down here. He starts the peeling off at the foot of the bed. There is no steadfastness, misfortune. This is kind of saying that the people who are kind of dragging you down, it's maybe a time to separate away from them a little bit. Is this going to be easy? No. But is it something that is going to be necessary in the long term? Probably. It doesn't mean you're cutting them out. It's saying that you're putting a little distance because they're being the negative Nancy's. No offense to Nancy's out there, but that's the where they're going, and it's just like, maybe I need a little space because you're not being supportive, or you're not giving me alternatives. If my ideas are not great, you're just telling me they're wrong and leaving it at that. So this is one of those things where it might be a good time to, do a little isolation, a little hermit for a second. Our second place line, he continues peeling off at the edge of the bed. There is no steadfastness. So when you go through these quiet periods where you kind of separate away from everybody, Earth, and you are kind of stepping into the energy of a hermit, which in tarot is a point of education, knowledge, but separating away so you can integrate, there is this period of time where you feel like you lose all friends. You lose all connection with the things that you used to find important. Doesn't mean that you've left it behind forever, but it's saying, understand where the value stands with everything. And that's not to say these people or these things aren't important, but in the grand scheme of your spiritual life, where do they fit? And so that's kind of what I'm hearing here for Earth. Our third place line, he peels them all off, no error. So even if you happen to lose some people who are important for a temporary period, or maybe you're losing them for a long-term important or acquaintance, there's not really a negative energy here. This is saying this is something that you've needed to do for a while. This is kind of a retreat into your shell, where either you're recovering from some things that have been going on, or maybe you just need some time alone to kind of reset and reconnect with yourself, with your inner circle. Even those times where you feel like you don't fit there anymore, maybe it's just a time to re-examine. So, our fourth place line, he continues the peeling off at the mattress of his bed, misfortune. This is a heads up. You don't want to push too far. You're not pushing people away. You're the one stepping back, is what I'm hearing. So when it says he continues peeling off the mattress, misfortune, it's saying if you continue to push people away, that's when problems are going to come up. Remember, you're not doing things to other people. This is about you, personal accountability and all that fun stuff. You're the one stepping back. It's not that they are doing anything good, bad, and different. You need the time for yourself to reconnect with who you are, reconnect with your higher self, figure out what's going on in your shadow, all that jazz, and that's where you're at. So you don't want to push people away. You're stepping back. There's a difference, huge difference. Our 5th place line: a string of fishes symbolizes the high favor enjoyed by maids in the palace. Everything is favorable. So when you get to the point where you understand why you've stepped back and you start to see, okay, so that person was actually giving me good criticism, so I need to take some of that into effect. That person was just really not being helpful. We're going to keep them in the acquaintance stage. These are things that are, once you start to realize that string of fish, that's those people who, they saw what was happening and they're like, you know what, we're going to give you your space. When you're ready, we're over here. And when that happens, that's when you actually step into the higher favor, because those people who actually stuck with you through all this, they're going to look at you and be like, there it is. We knew you were in there. You were hiding from yourself. Now you're coming back out. That's what we were waiting for. So those people are going to wait for you, and that's actually going to deepen the relationships, whether it's with one or that inner circle, that 5, inner circle that you carry. However it works, those are the ones who actually are watching, and they're actually willing to wait for you to finish the healing process to come back. So, our capstone here: the ripe fruit remains uneaten. The superior man will acquire a carriage, whereas the mean man will lose his own house. So, the carriage here is really talking about the support of others. That's when it's saying the ripe fruit remains uneaten. You don't have to go chasing things. That's what they're wanting to imply here. The superior man, the person who's went through the period of stepping back, doing the inner work, figuring out what's going on, you're acquiring the carriage. You will get the support of those who are most important. Those are the people who are waiting for you. They're the ones that are like, nope, we see what's happening. We're going to let you have your space. When you're ready, we're over here. That's the important part. That's that superior man where you know you've had to step away. You're not wanting to do it to be harmful. You're doing it because you need to. Where it says, whereas the mean man will lose his own house. If you're being pushy and you're like shoving people out, like I said, don't do that. That's when you actually will lose everything, and you may find yourself in a very uncomfortable position there. So overall, your I-ching for Earth is wanting you to embrace the concept of the hermit. Step back, figure out what's going on, see where you're at. This is not a time for outward action. This is not a time for grand gestures. This is a time for our Earth family here to find some quiet time, to reflect in. If you need to separate yourself from some of those social events, then do so. But it's also a time to see who's around that actually is there to support. Constructive criticism is not hateful. Constructive criticism is like, we like this idea, you could tweak it here and here. Or maybe that's not the best option at this moment in time. Maybe if you did something like this, and then you can banter it back and forth. What you're doing this month, Earth, is, at least what I'm hearing, is this is a time for you to step back, check in with yourself, and by the end of the month, you're going to actually check back in with the circle who was waiting for you, the ones who actually are there to support you, and those who are the diamonds in the rough, we'll call them that. So with that, we'll get started into our Oracle and Tarot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, let me know your thoughts, feelings, and impressions in the comments down below. And I read week to week. There's about 5 weeks in May, so we're going to go with a 5-week reading. Each week we look at a guide or guardian, someone to protect you from unwanted things or to guide you through the ups and downs of the week. We look at a message from source, which is a positive affirmation or support. Then we get some more clarity from the tarot. So with that, we will get started with your first guide or guardian. Oh, and if you're interested in any of the books or cards I'm using, They're linked in the description down below. We have the Aquamarine Dragon from Neptune. Enables you to access your deepest soul wisdom. Spirituality and wisdom are available to you. Develop your psychic and intuitive abilities. Receive ineffable soul knowledge. Earth. You're going through a lot of things right now. And it's not good, bad, and different. You're just going through a lot. And what's going to be coming forward this first week is that period where you're going to step into the aha moments of, oh, I need to do some work. Something is going to trigger this spiritual urge for you, whether it is a work-related thing, something someone says at home. You could be listening to a podcast on the radio and hear that phrase, and all of a sudden it puts you in a mind of something very spiritual, because this first week, this is your first step back. You're peeling away and you are stepping back because you're starting to realize there's more going on than what meets the eye, and that's where they're saying you need to pause. And the Aquamarine Dragon from Neptune is here to help you understand the mystery, because Neptune's all about mysteries, especially water mysteries, but that's beside the point. But also when you look at Aquamarine, you're looking at the spirituality of life. You're not looking at something from a surface level. This is something that your soul is kind of crying out for, and that's where the Aquamarine Dragon from Neptune is coming forward to say, let's work together here. Let's figure out what's going on. Let's see where you're at. Maybe something needs to be released, something needs to be healed, but you're not going to be doing that in the midst of a crowd, so it's kind of step back a little bit. Your message from Source is the Akashic Records, clearing old stories, releasing the past, and freedom. God Source Divine is saying, this is a time for karma to be cleared for our Earth family. This first week is letting you know kind of the direction of where your karma is being processed. Does not mean that it's going to be the entire month this one thing, but this is a direction that it's headed. This is a time to pay attention really closely to your dreams, pay really close attention to those aha moments. Hear what other people are saying when you're in conversation, even just general conversation, because you can actually get some of the biggest insights from the most random conversation. And with the Akashic Records, when you're clearing the old stories out, you're actually fixing and releasing your karmic patterns and cycles. We haven't even got through the first week here, Earth, but I'm getting this feeling that you guys are really in this path of release, because there's big things on the way. But it's one of those where you kind of have to work through the cycle first before you can get to those awesome things on the other side. So that's where you're at starting off this month, is cycling through, figuring out what's going on, learning to walk in the mystery, which can be fun, but it's also a little bit unnerving. So your clarification from the tarot is number 21, the World. A brilliant success, the freedom to go in any direction, a journey that is now complete. What you've been working on, Earth, is coming to a close in the spiritual sense. And that could be just, you've done what you can do, and now it's time for the manifestation to start working, where it's coming from spirit into form. But it also is saying, as you go through this journey, it's not just about one destination. This is the only option. This is the only thing I can do. Earth, not the best, not probably the easiest thing for you, but there's a lot of different options out there. There's a lot of different things available. You're not planted in one spot, Earth, even though there are times you feel like it because you're Earth and that's what you want to do, is stay in one spot. There's a lot of different things going on, and God Source Divine is saying, as you're going through and clearing out some of these old soul contracts, clearing out some of that karmic residue, it's time to start seeing the world as something way more exciting and way more interesting. That's where that Neptune energy with the Aquamarine Dragons are coming in, where you can see the mystery and really get curious about it. But you have to kind of do the clearing out to make space for what's coming. Your second week is the Source Dragon, attunes you to the infinite. Be still, in silence, magic happens. Live in the moment. This is straight up saying, this is that second week energy, just like it said in the I-ching. You're still kind of stepping back. You're not pushing. You're not doing any form of you're stepping back. This is you not doing you're not controlling anyone else. You are controlling you. When you start to step back more, the first week you're starting to understand the mystery. You were starting to understand what was going on as far as the Akashic records, the karma clearing, things like that. This second week, it's now that you're making that space. Check in with God, Source Divine. Check in with your guides and guardians, whether they be dragons, angels, the fae, whatever it is that you work with. Really check in with them, see where you're at. Start to live more in the now moment, which sounds easy, but it's really not, because to live in the now, you're not worried about the future. You really don't care about the past, because you're experiencing this moment in its purest simplicity, in its fullness. And that's what the Source Dragon is doing, is in the moment is when creation happens. In the moment is when manifestation can come in. This is a call to, as you're stepping back, connect. And in those connections, become aware of the moment. Don't worry about all the rest of it. That'll sort itself out. Be aware of the moment and revel in that moment. Your message from Source is the Venusian Galactic Council, star being guides answering the call. It's your time to shine. These are energies from Venus. These are the guides that they work with your heart, but they want you to understand it's not just one area that they work with. So they'll start with your heart chakra, but your heart is the balance. It is the fulcrum of your entire chakra system. So they're starting there because it's going to radiate up. It's going to radiate down through all of your chakras, all three-dimensional and fifth-dimensional chakras. Everything's waking up. And it's saying, this is your time to understand where you're at. Once you understand where you're at, then you can see a clearer vision of what's coming. Your time to shine is about really wrapping yourself in, okay, I've stepped back. I need to understand myself. As I do that, I allow the beauty, the uniqueness, the thing that makes you special, Earth, that one thing, whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's being able to lead a group, whatever that is being able to bloom within you, and it is shining and radiating out from you. So when you start to live in the moment, then that shining becomes second nature. You don't even realize you're doing it because it is so natural in those moments. So let's see what the tarot has to say here. We have number 2, the High Priestess, trusting your intuition, careful reflection before taking action, insights that come through meditation. This also brings in the energy of good luck. So this is not just a simple thing. The High Priestess is where you start to really, how I view the High Priestess anyway, in a spiritual sense, this is where you start to understand the aspect of the divine feminine. You're not really connecting there yet, but you're understanding it. And this is also when you start to really notice your intuition, your dreams. Those gut instincts are becoming way more powerful. And with what you have going on in the second week with the Source Dragon and the Venusian Galactic Council, these are energies coming in to help you live in the moment. And when you live in the moment, your awareness actually expands. And that's where you start tapping into that higher level of intuition. And that's how you are able to start to trust more in what those gut instincts are. You start to really pay attention and listen to those little things. That's not easy. Not gonna lie and say it is, but it's one of those things. This is part of that growth. You're clearing out the clutter so you can actually exist more fully in the world, but you're not part of the collective gunk web anymore. You've elevated outside of it because you've stepped away from it. And my guides are being funny. When you step away and realize that you've separated from the gunk web, you realize that the people who are waiting for you, like the I-ching talks about, they were already up there waiting for you. They were waiting for you to catch up to them. So in one sense, this is a growth thing for you, but it's also an awakening for you. So there's a lot of positive energy going on for our Earth family. Our third week is the White Gold Dragon from Lyra, connecting to your highest Christ light. Develop your causal chakra just above the crown to the back. Bathe in ninth dimensional Christ light. when we start to really understand the term Christ was actually a title, it wasn't so much one person, it's actually a title. It's an enlightened energy. So when we have white gold dragon from Lyra, we're actually starting to understand ourselves and Earth. By this third week, your intuition, to varying degrees, is going to start really waking up. And when you're living in the moment, when you have connected up and down, you're grounded into Gaia, which is your patron, but you're also connected up to God's source divine, and the Venusian Council is bringing in this heart balancing energy. It allows you to live in the moment. In the moment, that's where awareness expands, and that's where this Christ-light energy is coming in. This is energy directly from the heart of the Creator God, God source divine, Lord and Lady, however you see it. And this energy is literally coming down to bathe you and to uplift you. So this is actually a very strong, powerful week so far, starting off. And with White Gold Dragon, this is a divine being, but it's also an encompassing one. White is all colors of light. Gold enhances spirituality. So you are literally embracing all aspects. You're not just dealing with earth here. You're dealing with earth, air, fire, and water. Sorry, cut my finger. And so you've got this nice broad energy that's coming in right here, and that is such a blessing in this third week. Your your message from source. These cards are being funny. Is the Order of Melchizedek. Embrace the light, mission uncovered, don't give up. The Order of Melchizedek is a order of divine beings. These were, in one sense, alchemists. In some thought they are immortals. They are people who are so close to the heart of the Creator that they have been blessed to stay here and anchor the light into the planet. You have the White Gold Dragon from Lyra as your guide. Your message from Source is you're now engulfed in this beautiful white light. You are uncovering who you are meant to be, which is allowing you to shine, tapping into that Christ light energy. And even if you feel like you are alone, like you've completely lost everybody, no, you haven't. And give it time. When you are done adjusting and shifting, which is when the chaos is going on, you'll notice that you've actually tightened your bonds with the people who are closest to you. You might have developed a new friendship without even realizing it, because that happens too. So this is not a time for mourning over what was lost, because you're not really losing, you're just shifting. It might feel like you're losing, but you're not. So your message from the tarot is the King of Spring, innovative, inspiring, wise, and theatrical. Don't get too theatrical. A financial windfall, your leadership skills are needed, an unexpected supporter of your cause. This is where with I-ching it said that you're starting to get the carriage. You're getting the support that you need, or the support you realized you always had. So the King of Spring, as a wrap-up for this third week, is really saying, now you understand you weren't doing this by yourself. It felt like it because you had to initiate it. You had to step away from the crowd. You had to connect. God's source divine's always waiting for us. It's us doing the work. And so when we look at it from that perspective, the King of Spring is saying, now that you've figured out where you're going, doesn't mean you're going to know the end game just yet. You at least found the next path. This is where things start to fall back into place, and this is where that awakening sets from into the ether down into the physical, from spirit to manifestation. That's where we're heading in this third week. So let's see, about through half my deck, what the cards have to say for the fourth week of May for 2025 for our Earth family in the light of the Creator. This deck is really being interesting today. We are starting off our fourth week with the Orange Dragon. Brings soul families and communities together. Spread belonging, warmth, and oneness. Bring people together everywhere. This is just like the I-ching talks about. After you've done the work, after you've went through this 3 weeks of kind of intense growth and possibly feeling like you're all alone, you're not, just keep remembering that. This is where that community that you had the bonds get strengthened in, this is going to really play a big part in this fourth week. This fourth week also leads into, in at least the United States, we have Memorial Day coming up the end of May, and this is when a lot of families will come together for barbecues, camping trips, things like that. The Orange Dragon is saying this is your time to really reconnect. Everything that you've been working on has been working in your favor, but now it's time to understand how that plays out in the long term, how this plays out in the everyday world. And they're saying that you've got this, Earth. You are going to shine like a little ray of sunshine. You're going to help anchor new light into your circle of people. You're even radiating out into your acquaintance circle, because the work that you've done has actually shifted the dynamic of where you're at. So that's kind of cool. Your message from Source is star being healing codes. Important information, wounds are healed, recharging. When you come together in love and light with people of like-minded soul missions, healing is the natural occurrence. When you come together in wisdom and knowledge, you expand in ways that you never thought possible. These are times, this fourth week is a time where you get to build upon what you have started. And by building on what you've started, you're amplifying the other person. And as they're amplifying, they're reflecting it back. This is a time of great giving and great receiving. No one's taking. You're granting and you're accepting. That's a huge energy difference. And this fourth week, when you start to come together with the Orange Dragon, I want to show you these two cards together, with the Orange Dragon, and you're bringing in these star being codes, you are literally amplifying the work that you started. And you're not just amplifying your own, you're amplifying everyone who comes in contact. Earth, this fourth week is going to be such an amazingly fun week, but also such an amazingly gratifying week. The gratitude that you're going to feel is going to be divine in one aspect. So be ready for things to maybe not, they're saying it's going to be really awesome for you. Other people are going to be like, what are you so happy about? That's fine. Let them have their questions, because you know what's happened. This your message from the tarot is the 10 of Winter, the resolution of difficulties, a weight lifted off your shoulders, the end of an addiction or codependency. So what you've stepped into here in this fourth week is the weight of that loss, that weight of, why was I going through this? Why was this happening to me? That's being faded away. It no longer is holding for you. And in a very spiritual aspect, this month is really about your growth. But as you're doing that, you're casting off the burdens, the karma that's been dragging you down or slowing you down. They're saying some of you have been fighting through the karma just to make sure, like, you're going to prove a point. This week, this month, it's time to get rid of it. You can start to run now without the burden behind you. So it's really a positive outlook we've got going on here for our Earth family. And they're saying that this is going to actually, if you're single, this is going to reflect into the romantic world. You're going to shine, and it's going to catch the right person's eye this month. I'm not sure why they tossed that in there, but they're wanting to emphasize that. If you happen to be single by this fourth week, someone's paying attention to you, Earth, so keep your eyes out for that. The fifth week, our last week here, we have the Air and Water Dragons. Help you connect to your higher frequencies, trusting your intuition, developing your psychic abilities. Be open to enlightenment and express your inner song. Be the amazing and wonderful person that you are, Earth. This fifth week, you've done the work. Embrace the shine. Allow yourself just to be the best version of yourself. Other people have already come forward. They realize that they're supporting you. So whatever it is you put your mind to, the business, the person, the new house, the baby, whatever it is that is you have been putting your energy towards, this is the time where you get to actually show healthy pride in that. Look, this is what can be accomplished. You're not saying, look what I did. It's, look what can be accomplished. This was done with, I put in hard work, but I also had support. And this is where you get to shine as the unique individual that you are, the beautiful creature that you are. And Air and water are saying, be open to the mystery. You started off with the mystery, and then now you're ending with, when you really tap into those higher frequencies, you just know that God Source Divine is looking out for you. So you do the things that you are following your instincts, your intuition, those intuitive or psychic abilities, whichever term you prefer to use. You're listening to them, and things are actually falling into place because you're actually following your higher self, your higher frequencies. So this 5th week is saying, good job, you did it. Now let's see where we can go with everything that you've learned. Your message from Source is third eye activation, brow chakra, inner vision, clear seeing. You now can see what others can't, or at least choose not to. You're able to see how things are playing out. You're seeing the energy at play in conversations. You're seeing the energy at play in life. You can look at things and be like, oh, there is a pattern to all this. So that karma that I was dragging around, the reason I kept dating that same type of person, the reason I kept getting the same type of job, the reason whatever was going on that just keeps repeating, there was a pattern there. And Earth, this month, you get to have the option to break that pattern. And this is a huge gift from the divine. This is an amazing blessing that's coming in. So embrace that for how it works in your life. Let the karma process itself out. You've learned the lesson. You don't need to repeat it again. You're done. Now it's time to move on to newer and better things. But you're doing so from a spiritually activated position, which is allowing you to see a lot broader and a lot clearer of a path. Your final tarot is the Princess of Autumn. Studious, responsible, cheerful, little mischievous. Happy news about your career, promotion, or scholarships. Well thought out plans that go perfectly, needing a push to get going. Now that you've done all the work, now that you can see the future ahead, what's your next step? How are you going to play this out? Earth, you've done all of the inner work, and now it's time to take from spirit into manifestation. How are you going to play it out? The question hangs in the air because it's yours to answer. You have all of the tools at your disposal. You have all of the knowledge. You have been building a community, whether it's one person or 15 people, of people who you can bounce ideas off of and grow, whether it's starting that business, whether it's asking that person out, whether it's proposing, whatever it is that you are setting yourself up for. This reading, this entire month, is saying, take the pause, make sure everything's lined up, because you're about to be launched into a much bigger future. And now it's time for you to answer the simple question. Where are you headed, and what do you want? With that, I will let you guys go. Have a great rest of your month, and I will see you in the next video. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later.